Are you afraid that a trans person might trick you into sleeping with them, and you think it would be traumatic to you? Or are you fed up with people calling you transphobic because you wouldn't date a trans person? Hello YouTube, and welcome back to another video. If you like what I do, press the like button and subscribe to my channel. It will really help the channel out. Let's make one thing clear. No one has to date anyone they don't want to date. And no one should be pressured to sleep with anyone they don't want to. Okay, thanks for watching, bye. No, but seriously, why is this even a conversation? Can we all just date whoever we are attracted to and who are attracted to us, and stop caring so much about what everyone else does in their private lives? Well, it's not transphobic not to date a trans person, just like it's not racist not to date a black person. But if you make a big deal about not dating black people, chances are you are racist. Just like if you make a big deal about not dating trans people, it's very likely you do it because you are transphobic. In fact, making such a huge deal about it that you have to make up a new sexuality and call yourself super straight just to be trans exclusionary is transphobic. If you are only attracted to white people, you can just date white people without calling yourself white sexual or anything equally stupid. Unless you specifically want it to be racist, you would just tell a person of color making advances to you that you are not interested. You wouldn't say you are repulsed by their skin color. But for some reason, when it comes to trans people, some of you suddenly forget that it's possible to reject people without being a massive dick about it. So you don't want to date trans people? Don't date trans people. It's that simple. You don't need to make up a new sexuality to declare how repulsed you are by the idea of dating trans people. But if you want, you can sure call yourself whatever you like, and I can call you transphobic for it. Genital preferences are valid. Wanting biological children is valid. Simply not being attracted to someone is valid. In many countries, surrogacy is not an option, and the criteria for being eligible to adopt are very strict. So those are things to take into consideration if you want children. And the vast majority of trans people consider those valid reasons not to want to date a trans person. However, not wanting to date someone because you don't think their gender is valid is transphobic. Or not wanting to date someone because of being disgusted by them being trans is transphobic. But you don't have to date anybody. If you don't want to date a trans person, good chances are they don't want to date you either. You're not that special. Also, the whole thing about saying that it's gay for a man to be attracted to a trans woman, that people keep on commenting to every trans woman, even when not relevant, is such a stupid take. First, who cares? It shouldn't be any of your concern how someone else defines their sexuality. If a man who dates a trans woman says he is straight, how is that any of your problem? Do you feel so insecure about your sexuality that you can't handle someone who shares your sexual orientation to be attracted to something you are not attracted to? Or something that is repulsive to you? You're not at the center of the universe, so your feelings about how someone else defines their own sexuality don't matter. Also, lesbians, it's okay if you don't want to date someone who has a dick.
You can't be gay anymore. It's transphobic, of course. So.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
Let's get into that.
Yeah. You can't be like a straight up lesbian anymore.
Why not?
Because they call you transphobic. If you like, I'm a lesbian that like I only want like vagina. Sorry. Oh, you're transphobic because some trans women have penises and some trans women are women and some trans women are lesbians and you need to like. It's like no, it's not how it works. But
if some lesbians are fine with dating a woman with a dick, they don't take away your lesbianism by calling themselves lesbian. Second, you may be attracted to chromosomes or uteruses or something, but most people aren't. Most people are attracted to appearance, the femininity or masculinity, pheromones, scent, behavior, and of course the personality of a person. But you do you, I guess. And just for the record, intersex conditions are more common than people think. And unless you've had your chromosomes tested, you can't know for certain which chromosomes you have.
If you're a trans lesbian like me, stitch this. So I recently posted that video clearly addressed to other trans lesbians. It went viral on the other side of TikTok, and I'm not sure if the straight people are okay. Just continually amazed at how in 2023 we still are having trouble with the idea that gender and sexuality, while connected and related, are distinct things.
Yeah, that's true. So, you're not a lesbian just because you say that. Lesbian women wouldn't be attracted to you. So, what are you gonna do about that information? Call me a bigot? Call me transphobic? Wait, I'm trans myself. You can call me names all you want. It still doesn't make you a lesbian. It still doesn't mean that lesbians are attracted to you.
How is someone's sexual orientation defined by who is attracted to them instead of who they are attracted to? One can be a heterosexual cis man, but that doesn't mean that any straight woman has to be attracted to them. So can't we just let people who identify as women and are attracted to women call themselves lesbians, if that makes sense to them? It doesn't mean that any lesbian has to be attracted to them. This is similar to the common idea straight cis men have that a trans woman's validity is determined by whether a straight cis man wants to sleep with her. Marcus, aka the offensive Teasler, said what his transphobic audience wants to hear. That he's technically a heterosexual woman. It's just that no straight man is attracted to him, for obvious reasons. Well, they should be obvious reasons.
A lesbian is a woman attracted to other women, and a woman is a biological female. Period. It's a gray area when it comes to real and passing transsexual people and then sexuality, because I'm technically a heterosexual because I, as a biological woman, am attracted to biological men. But first of all, no straight guy is attracted to me, for obvious reasons. Straight men are not attracted to a deep voice, a beard, a flat operated chest, but generally are not attracted to someone who looks like a young guy. Yes, I have a vagina that they are attracted to, but they would never sleep with me just because of that. That's why I like to divide my sexual orientation just like I divide my gender situation. I'm a biological woman, and I live my life as a man. I'm a biological heterosexual, but I live my life as a gay man. I do this for a very specific reason. I want to stick to facts, what's real and what's not, but I also want this whole thing to make sense in the real world, in every single social situation. And socially, I do consider myself gay. Funny enough, a lot of gay men are interested in me, and trans men like me. Pre-op, still has a vagina, but looks completely like a young guy, and that's great. I don't feel the need to call them bisexual because they would never date regular women who look like women. Unlike other trans people, I don't feel the need to create a lot of new terms just because gray areas exist.
Like Marcus here condescendingly says, people are attracted to how they perceive your gender or your sex. What Marcus here doesn't understand is that trans people and their partners are, indeed, not making up new terms when a guy dating a trans woman calls himself straight, or a trans woman and her cis woman partner call themselves lesbians. The real world where we perceive things is in fact real, and Marcus and his dates can just call themselves gay without all those mental gymnastics. It's just that the people Marcus tries to appeal to are the same people who tell Grace that no heterosexual man could ever be interested in her, and to all the straight guys who are that they are actually gay. Not even bi, just gay. Or who tell Victoria's husband and Matilda's boyfriend that they are actually gay.
I think people get so caught up in the labels, which is why the title of this, Being My Trans Girlfriend Doesn't Make Me Gay, while on one hand, I am his girlfriend that happens to be trans, and who cares if he was gay? That is kind of the message we're trying to get across.
Like we said, there's no problem with being gay, but by calling me gay, you're insulting her.
Yes.
It's not that you're
her,
insulting
not him,
me.
exactly.
I have no problem with people calling me gay, but the problem is that by calling me gay, you're basically saying he.
Perpetuates the idea that trans women are just men in dresses trying to trick heterosexual men.
Why would it make you happier if these women said, technically I'm a gay man, instead of just living their lives as they do? How does it affect you?
It's still a dude. A dude who thinks he's a girl, which makes the other guy gay.
But no, though.
I mean, no, though. I mean, do I look like a guy? Do I? How could you like a boy if you are a boy?
Oh my god, really? Yeah.
He...
I mean, I don't really know what to say here.
Word.
So I'm guessing you're gay?
Yes.
What? Just doesn't add up.
Oh, homosexuality? Never heard of it.
How are these three women any less real passing transsexuals than Marcus is? The only reason Marcus's audience agrees with his point when it comes to him, but not when it comes to these other trans people, is because the other three don't try to side with transphobes. Third, genital preferences are valid, but defining your sexuality primarily as being attracted to a certain type of genitals is a little bit weird in my opinion. Again, for most people, that's not the main thing people are attracted to. Also, asexuality exists, even though I guess people in this debate don't believe it does. A person can be asexual but romantically attracted to people of a specific gender. Do you think that they also fall in love with genitals? But especially if you meet a trans woman who completely passes as a woman and whom you couldn't tell apart from a cis woman, and you find her attractive, that doesn't make you gay. If you just stop finding her attractive after she tells you she's trans because, I don't know, you don't like her chromosomes, then your reasoning might be transphobic. But you are entitled to your feelings. You don't have to be attracted to a trans person. On the other hand, still finding her attractive after she tells you that she's trans doesn't magically turn you gay either. If you genuinely think that a man who has only dated and been attracted to cis women before turns gay the minute they find a trans woman attractive, your perception of sexuality is really weird. And bisexuality exists too, just for the record, although it's not really relevant to the point. People usually define sexuality in terms that make the most sense to them, and it really doesn't make much sense to call yourself gay if you are a man who is only attracted to people who present as women and whom you perceive as women. It would be weird to identify as a gay man if you're not attracted to people who present as men. If one of your male friends dated someone who looks like Buck Angel, would that seem totally heterosexual to you? Nothing gay about it? By your logic, if you're not able to reject trans women without making up a whole new sexuality, I guess that means that being straight means being attracted to everyone who was assigned female at birth. Surely straight guys are also attracted to trans men like Buck. Totally not gay. And the same applies to straight women dating trans men, of course. It's just that people don't seem to have as big of an issue with trans men in general. In the end, sexuality is not black and white, and it's not your place to define someone else's sexuality. And like I said before, you can be attracted to whomever you're attracted to. Just don't be a dick about it. And now to the issue of trans women tricking straight men into sleeping with them. Or trans people in general tricking someone into sleeping with them by not disclosing they are trans. First things first, I always encourage people to be open and honest with people they want sexual or romantic relations with. For your own safety, in most situations, it's better to let the other person know that you're trans. Also, sex is usually better with someone who respects you for who you are. But that being said, the argument that it should be considered sexual assault, or the R word, for a trans person to have sex with someone without disclosing that they are trans is extremely discriminatory and can put trans people in a serious danger. People often blame trans people, especially trans women, for getting murdered or assaulted by an intimate partner. People often assume that trans women only get killed because they tricked a straight man into sleeping with them. Even though there are many cases where that wasn't the case, any reasonable person should be scared as hell of how many people think murder is justified if you fracture an insecure straight man's fragile ego. It's the same logic as in honor violence. A straight man's honor is more important than women's or trans people's lives. Unfortunately, gay or trans panic defense is an accepted legal defense in many countries, as well as in many states in the US. That means that in many places you can get a lighter sentence if you say that when you found out the person you murdered was gay or trans, you couldn't control yourself and it made you kill them. This defense has even been used in cases like the murder of Isla Nettles. She was murdered by a random guy who started hitting on her in the street. And then he got angry when his friends told him she was a man. So if it's too late to tell you're trans, even right when a person starts hitting on you, do you think trans people should just have "I'm trans" written on their forehead? Just to make sure they don't accidentally hurt some fragile cis guy's feelings, who already feels tricked once he starts talking to a trans person without realizing the person is trans.
Once I had the trans pride flag in my bio, and then a man slid into my DMs to ask me, "Oh my god, that flag is so beautiful, what country are you from?" He then started flirting with me, and once I told him that I was trans and that was a trans pride flag, he got angry. I was apparently deceiving him.
Being a trans lesbian is so annoying sometimes because I have no interest in men at all, but men will constantly tell me that I'm tricking them by not outing myself as trans to every single guy I meet.
So if it was considered an R word for a trans person to have sex without telling they are trans, you wouldn't even need the trans panic defense anymore. You could just say the trans person tried to R word you and you killed them in self-defense. The murdered trans person is not there to tell that you already knew before and that you only killed them because your friends found out and it was too much for your fragile masculinity to handle. Which, by the way, is a real reason many trans women get killed. Not because they didn't tell the guy, but because the guy wanted her transness to be a secret, but someone else found out. Consent is given to a person, not to a biological sex. However, if it turns out the person has different genitals you expected, you have all the right to reject them at any point. But if you are attracted to someone and choose to have sex with them, and consent to the sex the whole time you're having it, you can't withdraw your consent afterwards. You can withdraw it at any point while having sex, though. There are many things you can learn about someone that, had you known, would have made you withdraw consent. However, you don't owe your medical history to a one-night stand or a casual partner. The only information you owe those people are things that may put them in danger, such as not telling you have an STD. For example, I would be devastated if I found out that I've slept with someone who has been previously convicted of a serious violent crime. It might even be traumatic to me. But if the person had done their sentence and is free now, I don't think that them not telling me should be a crime. I don't think that them not telling me would make our sexual encounter an R word, even though it's information that would have made me seriously reconsider my consent. People frequently have sex they regret afterwards. People forget to use a condom in the heat of the moment. People end up getting pregnant because of irresponsible yet consensual sex. In the same way, one can forget to tell they are trans in the heat of the moment. Or they may have gone past the point when it's safe to tell you're trans. I just find it difficult or even dangerous to get out of the situation at that point, or to tell. There is very little information of one's medical background one is required to tell to a one-night stand. So making being trans one of the few things you have to tell is incredibly discriminatory. What if you have fake boobs, but you don't tell it? Are you then tricking someone into sleeping with you, thinking they're sleeping with someone with amazing natural boobs? Or if you've had testicular cancer and you have a prosthetic testicle, is it an R word if you have someone playing with it without knowing it's not real? Where should we draw the line? Only on trans people? The irony is that the people who are the most concerned about getting tricked by trans women are usually people who think they can always tell if someone is trans, who think they would never be attracted to a trans person, and who are even willing to describe how it feels like to have sex with a post-op trans woman and how different it feels from a cis woman's vagina, despite never having slept with a trans person. There are also transphobic cis women who like to describe that. But let me assure you, it's very unlikely that a trans person would like to have sex with you either. So you don't have to worry. You know those straight guys who think that every gay man wants to sleep with them? That sounds like you. But rest assured, you're not that interesting. Remember to like and subscribe, and see you in the next one. Bye!